Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TV Skyn, and this is the new and updated Varus Splash art. And it looks fantastic, I have to say. It's a substantially more polished piece of work than his old Splash art. It is a much more up to modern League of Legends standards, and it's just a really nice drawing of a very handsome evil demon man bow triple possessed ghost creature thing. But nonetheless, we have to talk about it a little bit. Before we do, though, I should note, I've done previous videos on the Varus lore update. I've done one on the comics, I've done one on the music video that was released, I've done one comparing Varus's new lore to the old lore, and in general, I have been very complimentary of this lore update because I think they did a fantastic job. I think the new concept for Varus is a lot more interesting than the old one. I think that the comics that they did were very well executed, very interesting, very beautiful to look at. There's some fantastic artwork in those comics if you haven't read them. And I think the music video that they put out, first of all, cool song, and second of all, some really cool visual metaphors and a lot of cool stuff going on that was interesting to look at and talk about. But we need to talk a little bit about Varus' splash art, and also about some other things. In order to do that, though, first we need to know a little something about Riot. Specifically, we need to know about this. This is an article on Polygon from March of this year. League of Legends director. LGBT characters will appear in the game at some point. Riot's Greg Street says it's just a matter of time and finding the proper storytelling method. So, what Greg Street, Ghostcrawler, had to say about this when he was asked some time ago is that they were absolutely going to have LGBT characters, but they just needed to be absolutely sure that they could get it right. Like, that it wouldn't be some kind of cheap thing. They wanted to really put some effort into it and really do it the right way and really make this thing work in the correct way. And then, later this year, Varus releases, and it turns out that he is not one person anymore, but he is a Darkin, an evil, enchanted ghost demon weapon of some kind from outer space or different dimension. It's not entirely clear who has possessed the body of an Ionian person who happened to be in love with another Ionian person, and that Ionian person was male. So Varus is a demonic entity who is possessing the body of a gay man, and he's also bringing along the spirit of that gay man's lover, which means that while Varus itself, the bow, the creature, is not gay, it contains gay characters. This is the first confirmed gay characters in League of Legends lore. And I really don't want to give Riot credit for whenever someone asks about Tarek and some Rioter goes on the boards or on the subreddit and goes, oh yeah, sure, I mean, sure, he's probably not definitely straight, but there's never been any part of the story where he flirts with a dude or where any character shows that they are not quite straight. And this is a naughty subject, and one that I'm not 100% qualified to speak on all the intricacies of, so I shall limit my criticism in this instance to the visual and gameplay aspects of the character, because where are the two other characters in this splash art? Remember, Varus is now 3 characters bound up into one. We have the demonic Darkin bow, we have the body of Val, I believe, which is the body that Varus is currently possessing and forcing to commit lots of murders, and then we have the spirit of Kai. But who's in this splash art? Just Varus, just the demon, This is the moment when he rises from the pit of evil, where he was imprisoned, and all there is here is Varus. It's just him. The demon bow, the evil monster guy who wants to avenge himself on all humans because reasons. Where is Val? Where's Kai? They're not here. Like, Kai's body, Val's body, perhaps, is the thing that's walking there, but he's not present. This is clearly Varus. This is clearly the possessed evil demon. We know that this is him because we know from the lore, from the comic and from the music video, that when Varus rises from this evil demon pit where he was imprisoned, he is fully possessing the body. It's only Varus. So where are Kai and Val? And come to think of it, where are they in League of Legends? Where are they in the game? Because while the lore of Varus has been updated, his model in-game has not. His animations haven't. Nothing about him has really changed. Even his voice lines remain exactly as they were. So the question I'm asking in this video, and the one I feel like I have an answer to already, is, are there actually any gay characters in League of Legends yet? And I have to argue that no, there aren't. There aren't. Like, if this is Riot's attempt to, as Greg Street says, we owe it to the players and I think to the world to do something like that, what I don't want to be is like, okay, team, next character, whatever you do has to be a lesbian. I don't think we'll end up with something good. From the beginning, it has to be the character's identity. I'm sure we'll do it at some point. I don't know what character or when it will happen. You know, and there are times when it's worth having that battle. We have to be careful because it's not necessarily just about a game company, but it's frustrating because they do all this. They go to all this effort. They make all of this fuss about we're changing everything about the character. We're retconning him, and now we have these two new characters, and we make 2 comics and a whole music video all about these 2 other characters who are now part of Varus, who are now part of his story, his character concept, who he is. But none of it, 0.9% of it are on display anywhere in League of Legends, the game. It's all on the League of Legends Universe Nexus website. It's all kind of hidden away. Oh, sure, you can read some of the updated lore if you go into the client and check out the lore from there, I think. I'm reasonably sure they've updated it by now, but none of all of this update has had any effect whatsoever on Varus in the game. His abilities haven't changed, none of the names have been changed, none of the animations have been changed. His recall, like, that's the thing that kind of bothers me, is they give every goddamn new skin that comes out gets a freaking new recall, but you couldn't have Varus kind of where the spirits of Kai and Val kind of come out and drag him off or something. Like, this was... You talk this great game about, oh, we have to have that representation in the game. We really want to include people of LGBT identities. We really want to say, no, you're part of the game, you're here. And then you release this to pump and circumstance with 2 comics and a giant music video, great fanfare. And none of it is in the game. None of it. It's not even in his splash art. Even in his splash art, there's no hint, there's no mention, there's no sign of these 2 new characters that you created who were supposed to be part of this massive retcon. The whole reason why you made this splash art is because you came up with Kai and Val, 2 new characters who were gay, who were supposed to be part of the Varus character. And I look at this splash art and they are nowhere. They aren't there. They're not present. They're not in here. They're not part of Varus. They're not in his animations. They're not in his voice lines. And I know, by the way, I've been on the subreddit, I've been checking. Yes, they absolutely are planning to give Varus new voice lines. You can see it here as Dyquill commenting on Reddit. Any plans for a voice update? Love his quotes, don't match the new lore. We agree, and yes, we're currently in talks about when and how we can do it. This new narrative is making his VO update much more of a priority. MF is in the same boat, but we've promised other updates for other champs, not just VO, but visual and gameplay, so we owe players some other things first. This reads as a little bit cheap. Like, what? Okay, so you have time to make a whole new lore and a new comic and a new music video. That music video must have taken over a year of work. Like, that's a substantial piece of 3D animation, and with the song and with the everything, but somehow in all of that there wasn't time to get a voice actor in to record some lines. There wasn't time to say to a couple of your animators, hey, could you maybe do the spirits of Val and Kai kind of floating around him or something? Or to do something with him? You could do all of this other shit, but this one thing that would actually put the new characters you invented into your goddamn video game? That was somehow, oh, that we didn't have the resources, that wasn't on the table? And here's the thing. You could just, honestly, if they had just taken this and made it the splash art, I would have said, okay, fine. because at least here they are present, they exist as disembodied spirit heads floating around Varus. And I know this doesn't look like a typical League of Legends splash art, but you could redraw it, you have the artists, you have the time. If you can't tell, I'm frustrated. I'm a little frustrated because Riot were this close. This freaking close to delivering on this promise. This promise right here, not only did they invent a character who was gay, they invented two characters who were gay, and they made them an inextricable part of someone who was in the game. But now it's out, and it turns out that the only commitment they really had to putting a gay character in the game was to make a bunch of artwork and a music video that says they have a gay character in the game, but not to actually put any of it in the game. I think the Varus update is good. I think it's fantastic. Like I said, I think it's a much more interesting concept for the character, that there are three personalities that are having a kind of tug of war over control. I think it's more interesting that he is struggling with corruption, that he's struggling with hatred and vengeance, and he's very much trying not to let this darken this bow take over. I think it's more interesting even than Kane's character, who was just kind of an anime edgelord, because there's some emotional drama going on here. There are some actual stakes. There's a relationship at stake here. There are people's lives and connections at stake. Except none of it is in the game. I don't think this is good enough, Riot. I really... You don't get points yet. You have not delivered on this promise. You have not delivered on it. Not yet. You've still got some work to do. I'm sure you're working on it. I'm sure it's on the way. I'm sure you've got people in a team trying to figure out how to make it all happen. But it starts to ring hollow, this protest, that there wasn't time and resources to do it, when you had the time and resources to commission 2 comics, to write an extensive lore update, to come up with these new characters and these new character designs, to make a frickin' music video, of which you release like, what, a couple of those a year at most? All this pomp and circumstance to update the character, and then somehow just the bit of putting it in the actual game falls through? You can't... Oh, no, that wasn't enough. We couldn't... Now, I know that there are more concerns at stake than just recording some voice lines and putting them in the game, because there are some countries around the world that have rather severe censorship laws regarding these kinds of things. And where, like, we're not joking when we're saying that there are countries in the world where Riot staff could literally be arrested if they put even the hint of an out gay character in the game, like, where there's like serious jeopardy about this stuff. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard. I know it's complicated when you're dealing with a global video game, but you are also one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. You have all of the money, like all of the money, and you have had a long ass time to figure this shit out. You've had a long time to figure out how to do this. You have Blizzard as a model. They did it very successfully. They have integrated Tracer's girlfriend into her voice lines in a very unobtrusive way that doesn't get the game banned in multiple regions, that doesn't get anyone arrested, that doesn't get anyone into trouble. There's a model for how to do this, and I don't understand why you couldn't pull it off. I don't understand. There are so many clever, intelligent, creative, talented, smart people working at Riot. I know a lot of them. I talk to them. I don't understand how you get this close. All of this. And the music video and the comic and the lore update and the writing and the new splash art. All of this. And yet somehow... Well, this new narrative is making his VO update much more of a priority. How was it not a priority to have the VO update ready along with the lore update? And I don't want to get too much into rumor mongering, but the chatter I heard about this music video was that it's something Riot has worked on for years. Like it's been something they've been going on. They've been trying desperately to find a good time and a good way to release it, and they've been refining it and rewriting and making changes and polishing it to make it right. And now finally they get to release it, and somehow this. Oh yeah, this new narrative was making his VO update more of a priority. Like, they didn't expect that to happen? I think 15 minutes is probably long enough to rant about this. I'm not necessarily looking forward to the state of the comments on this video, but when I saw the splash art, I just kind of... Because this was the place where I thought that, okay, I know voice lines and stuff can be complicated, I know it can take some time, but to just put a couple of ghosts in the background of the dudes who are inside Varus to show that, oh yeah, they're also here in the splash art, like the face of the character, that seemed like it would be such a small, simple thing. I could do it right. I could load this shit up in Photoshop and draw them in for you. I'm happy to do it. But... yeah, I know it's hard. I know it's difficult shit to do. I know it's difficult to run a global game. I know it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of resources and a lot of lawyers looking over everything to make sure that nobody's going to get in trouble. But come on. Anyway, 16 minutes now is enough of an angry rant about this. My name is TBSkyne. I do these videos often, so if you liked this or if you want to have serious discussions about the lore and the character design and the writing in video games, well, you can hit that subscribe button because I do a lot of that stuff. If you disliked it, there's a dislike button specifically for the purpose. If you want to spew homophobic bullshit or something, I'm just going to delete it from my comments, so don't bother. But if you have some thoughts or some criticisms of my points or the things that I lay out that are, you know, not vile, you can put them down in the comments. I will read them. I will respond to as many of them as I have useful responses to. And at this point, I suppose I shall just see you in the next video.